This is a story submitted by a viewer who wants to stay anonymous. He says this happened 2 years ago, and he hasn't slept normally ever since. If you've ever heard a voice in your head that didn't sound like your own, you might want to stop listening now, because this one is about a voice that doesn't just speak to you, it tells you what to do. My name is Ethan. I'm 24 years old, and I need to say this before anything else. I am not schizophrenic. I am not mentally unstable. I have never hallucinated. And before everything I'm about to tell you happened, I never heard voices. The first time it spoke to me, I was driving home from a late shift. It was 1:47 a.m. The highway was empty. The streetlights kept flickering like they were struggling to stay alive. I had my windows rolled down because my AC doesn't work, and the night wind was the only thing keeping me awake. My phone was connected to my car's speakers. I was listening to a podcast. Everything was normal. Then something strange happened. The podcast cut off for 1 second. Not long. Just a quick glitch. And then I heard a voice. Not from the radio. Not from my phone. Not from outside. From inside my own head. It was clear, cold, and calm. It said, "Don't blink." I literally swerved the wheel because it startled me so badly. My heart dropped in an instant. The voice didn't sound like me. It didn't sound like a memory. It didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before. It sounded old, deep, patient, like it had been waiting a very long time to speak. I pulled over on the shoulder immediately. I sat there breathing hard, gripping the steering wheel. I waited. Nothing else happened. No more voice. I blinked, and I remember thinking, maybe I imagined it. Maybe I'm just tired. I drove home slowly after that. But something in my chest felt wrong, like I had disturbed something without meaning to. Like something was awake now and watching me. 2 days passed with nothing strange. Then came the second time. I was in the shower, halfway asleep, when the steam on the mirror suddenly blurred, like someone exhaled right next to it. For some reason, that gave me chills. I turned off the water, grabbed a towel, and as I stepped out, I heard the voice again, this time louder, more confident, like it knew I would hear it if do not turn around. Every hair on my body stood up, because the moment it said that, I felt something behind me. Not a sound, not a touch, just a presence, like someone tall, standing way too close. I froze. My heart was pounding so hard, I could feel it in my throat. The voice spoke again. "If you turn around, you will see it." I don't know why, but the voice felt almost protective this time, like it was warning me. My throat was dry. My limbs were shaking. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I whispered out loud, "Who are you?" No response, just heavy silence. For 10 seconds, I stood there dripping water onto the floor, feeling something tall and silent looming behind me. Then the voice said one last thing. "Walk. Don't look." I obeyed. I don't know why, but I obeyed. I walked straight out of the bathroom, eyes forward, heart threatening to rip out of my chest. When I reached my bedroom and shut the door, the feeling behind me disappeared instantly. Just gone. Like nothing had ever been there. But deep down, I knew something had been. After that, the voice began appearing more frequently, never asking, never suggesting, always commanding, short, sharp orders. "Don't go there. Stop. Don't trust him. Answer the call. Do not sleep yet." Sometimes the orders made no sense. Sometimes they felt like warnings, and sometimes they felt like traps. I became paranoid, restless. My coworkers started noticing. I looked like a man who hadn't slept for weeks. One night, I was walking back to my apartment when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, unsteady, like someone was dragging their feet. I turned around but saw nothing, just an empty street. I quickened my pace. The footsteps quickened too. I reached for my phone, my breath getting faster, and that's when the voice spoke again. But this time, it sounded different. It sounded excited, almost eager. "Hide." I sprinted behind a dumpster, pressing myself against the cold metal. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until I could hear breathing. Not normal breathing, a wet, uneven rasp, like someone inhaling through broken ribs. I peeked out just a little. What I saw made my blood freeze. There was a man, or something shaped like a man, standing under the streetlight, but his head was tilted at an impossible angle, as if it had been twisted halfway around, and his arms, they hung lower than they should, like they had been stretched. He sniffed the air, slow, long, searching for something, searching for me. The voice whispered again, "Do not move." I held my breath. The thing under the streetlight turned slowly, almost robotically. Its eyes were milky white. Its mouth hung open like it was permanently dislocated. It sniffed again, then shuddered and walked away. The tension in my chest released all at once. My legs gave out. I had to hold onto the dumpster to stop from collapsing. When the thing finally disappeared down the street, the voice spoke one more time. Its tone was almost satisfied. "Good. You listened." That was the moment. I realized something horrible. The voice didn't just know me. It controlled whether I lived or died. I wish the story ended there, but it gets worse. Much worse. Because one night, I made a mistake. I didn't obey. It was around 3 a.m. I had just fallen asleep when I heard a loud bang from the kitchen, like someone slamming a cabinet door. Half asleep, I stumbled out of bed and walked toward the noise. Then the voice whispered sharply, "Do not enter the kitchen." This time, something inside me snapped. I was tired, scared, angry. I was sick of living like a puppet for some invisible force, so I whispered back, "No, I'm done listening to you." I stepped into the kitchen. Huge mistake. The kitchen was pitch black, but I could sense something there, waiting, breathing. I reached for the light switch, and the voice screamed, "Run." I froze. That was the first time it ever screamed. Its tone wasn't calm. It wasn't controlling. It was terrified. I felt something cold move behind me, like a hand brushing the back of my neck. When I turned around, I saw a face pressed against the darkness, pale, colorless, eyes like empty holes, a smile that stretched far too wide, filled with too many teeth. It whispered, "Found you." I fell backward and scrambled out of the kitchen, slamming the door behind me. I heard scratching on the other side, slow and deliberate, like nails dragging across wood. Long, slow strokes. After a minute, the scratching stopped. My entire body was shaking. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The voice whispered again, but this time, it sounded exhausted. "You must listen, or it will take you." That night, I slept in my car. I left my apartment the next day. I didn't even pack. I just took my phone and wallet and drove until I ran out of fuel. I checked into a cheap motel. I didn't tell anyone where I was. For the first time in days, the voice was silent. I thought maybe it was over, but around 2 a.m., as I lay on the uncomfortable motel bed, it returned. Not loud, not commanding, soft, almost sad. It follows those who are alone. I sat up. What does? The voice hesitated, then it said something. That made every bone in my body turn cold. The thing in the kitchen, the thing in the street, the thing behind you that night in the bathroom, they are all the same. I felt sick. "Why me?" I whispered. The voice answered, "Because you heard it." "What do you mean?" "Most people never hear it. They pass it on the street and never know. It chooses someone and then it waits. It tries to speak. If you hear it, it marks you." I felt my chest tighten. "So what are you?" I asked. There was a very long silence. Then the voice said, "Yes, I tried to hide it. I am the one thing it fears." My blood ran cold. "What does that mean?" "I tell you what to do. So you what to do. So you do not do what it says." I suddenly understood something horrifying. The first word the voice ever told me, "Don't blink." It wasn't a command. It was stopping me from doing something the other thing wanted. Every order, every command. It wasn't controlling me. It was protecting me from the thing that hunted me. Because I could hear its voice, I felt tears in my eyes. "Can you stop it?" I asked. A long silence. Then, "No." My heart dropped. "But I can delay it. As long as you obey." I've been living like this for months now. I move every week. I never stay anywhere too long. I sleep with lights on. I avoid mirrors. I avoid silence. I avoid being alone. Even though I always feel alone, the voice still speaks to me. Sometimes once a day, sometimes once every few minutes, always the same tone. Calm, cold, watchful. Tonight, something changed. As I write this from another cheap motel room, the voice spoke again. But for the first time, it sounded afraid, genuinely afraid. It said, "Don't breathe." I froze. Then it said, "It's in the room." My hands are shaking as I type this. The air feels wrong, heavy, thick. The lights are flickering. I can hear something behind me, slow, wet breathing, like it's inches from my neck. The voice just spoke one last time. "Do not turn around, no matter what you hear." The breathing behind me is getting louder, closer. I can feel it right against my skin. I don't know how long I can stay like this. I don't know what happens if I move. I don't know what happens if I look. But I know one thing. The voice has never been wrong. So I'm going to do the only thing I can. I'm going to obey. If you ever hear a voice in your head and it doesn't sound like yours, don't ignore it. And whatever you do, don't turn around. If you enjoyed tonight's story, make sure to subscribe to Dark Vision for more real, chilling, and disturbing horror stories. Sleep if you can.